Guys, welcome to the show. What's poppin'?
Hello. Thank you so much for having us, first and foremost.
Well, thank you so much for being here, taking time out of your busy schedules to come chat with us.
Oh, well, we really appreciate it. I mean, you're just making us feel so cool. We're like the coolest band in the world right now.
Listen, that's what I do.
Obviously.
That is what I do. Yeah.
Not trying to sound cocky or anything, but I want to make sure you're comfortable to get the best out of this conversation that we're going to have. You feel me?
I'm ready. I got my coffee. We're well equipped.
Rocking and rolling. You're drinking coffee at night, pretty much?
100%.
Why is that?
I'm one of those people, and I saw a tweet about this the other day, and it's like my whole life I've been able to drink coffee up until the second I go to sleep, and then I realize it's just ADHD.
Same. Okay,
Did you see that too?
Yes.
Okay.
So I am one of those people when and I feel like you just riled me up for a second. I'm one of those people, I can drink coffee and will go right to sleep. And they were saying that it's a sign of ADHD.
Correct.
Because Adderall essentially is like caffeine or something like that. I was reading.
Yeah, I never understood like the whole hype to that, especially like kids in high school and college and stuff. Because it never, I was on like Ritalin and stuff when I was 13, and it didn't do anything. It didn't like, amp me up or like help me study.
It calmed you down.
Yeah, no, it was like a sedative.
That was for you?
Uh-huh.
You're kidding.
No.
It was the complete opposite for me.
Because you don't have ADHD.
It would just skyrocket me into the moon. I could probably clean my house for 14 hours straight.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I feel like with me, I'm just like, I'm a zombie.
Yes, and that's why I stopped taking it.
It just roofed me. Just into the stratosphere.
Huh.
Yeah. I feel like Iron Man.
I actually wanted a prescription for Adderall for the effects of that it makes you lose weight, not because it makes you focus or anything like that. That's why I wanted the Adderall prescription.
It probably, subsidizes your appetite or something like that.
I think so.
Right?
I think it suppresses it.
Yeah. Suppresses. That was the word I was looking for.
But we have a superpower. That's what people fail to realize. I mean, I have it tattooed on my wrist right there. It says
What's that?
ADHD.
Is that a thing? I feel like I used to get made fun of it because I can't
Well, yeah, but think about how much we're able to get done.
See?
Like you have to take that negative aspect of it, right? Like the way that people kind of portray it, and like you got to look at all the benefits.
Travis, let me tell you something. I was at the station 3 times today. 3 times, and I've been in 3 different outfits.
Do you know what I call that though?
What's that?
Motivated with a strong fashion sense.
Woo!
Yeah, I like that.
Guys, can I just ask?
I love that.
You're so profound. I love that.
Thank you.
Great lyricist too. Great lyricist.
When you're writing songs, does it just like come to you like that?
Yeah. I mean, look, everyone is a little different, but my iPhone is just like a minefield of weird thoughts, and I feel like I'll wake up. I've gotten in the habit of like when I get inspired or if a line pops into my head, no matter what I'm doing, I stop and I have to write it down. And I feel like that is kind of what you have to do, right? As a songwriter and as someone who like wants to be a musician, because you never know when inspiration can strike, and it's fleeting. It's like trying to capture lightning in a bottle, but it makes me that much more prepared when I do go into a studio and I have this Rolodex of all these cool ideas.
Do you ever start humming, not necessarily lyrics, but start humming beats in your phone, and you're like, all right, let's do this. And then you go into the studio and it's not what you, I guess, want it.
Me and Nick will send voice notes to each other. Like, what if the guitar was like da 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 da, and we probably look like idiots, right? Like walking around
in LA. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. We fit in great here.
Exactly.
But I mean, to your point, like in high school, I got kicked out of like I had this Spanish teacher who absolutely hated me because I would just like drum on the desk and do all these crazy things. And yeah, I'd get kicked out of class constantly. But I mean, I guess it kind of paid off, right?
But what's interesting? I feel like, and I say this all the time, I think when you have a kid like that, you have to figure out a way how to teach to him. So if they're drumming on the desk, you get this kid some drumsticks and one of those individual pads and learn and teach them by using drums, or if that makes sense. But before even writing that kid off, you need to make sure that you're reaching that kid at every aspect. No,
1,000%. I think it all comes down to individualized learning, right? That's like how you spark the interest and passion and creativity and curiosity with young people, is like teach to them, cater to like how they learn and who they are as individuals. That's the ultimate school experience. But unfortunately, every school can't provide that. But we need more things that provide that.
Absolutely. I do feel like when it's that one teacher that can recognize that will stick with that kid forever.
1,000%.
You want to know what's really cool is we did a music video for our song Tattoo that came out last year. And so the idea for the music video was like Nick and I weren't even really in it. We were in it for like 3 seconds, but we hired these 2 kids to play us. And they're like 7 years old. They were like our mini-me's. We put like all of our tattoos, we had them professionally
Get outta here.
made, like from movie studios and stuff. And so they're like these two kids with piercings and tattoos. But Colt, the kid who played Nick, he had to learn how to play this mini drum set, like for the music video. He is still actively taking drum lessons today. He's a sick drummer. And like over the course of a year, he's picked up this whole new skill. And he's in a band now, and like he's like playing talent shows, and like it's just so cool
Going
for
after
us.
it now, yeah.
Yeah, to watch, like, because we saw it from the beginning when Nick was like showing him how to like hit his snare drum like on set of the video, to now he like sends us videos playing along to our songs, and it's just like that's the most rewarding thing ever.
Nick, that has to feel good though. Like
It's really, yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's cool, like watching young kids who obviously get inspired by, you know, older folks doing what they want to be doing, and just like me and Trav were looking up to bands when we were younger, and yeah, to kind of pass that along to somebody else is awesome, especially to someone who's aspiring to be in music as well. See if you can kind of give them that extra leg up and kind of that you know,
That push.
advice and that
Yeah.
push. Like that's what it's all about. And now look at this kid's like immersing himself in the music world, which is
Right.
amazing. So yeah, anytime we can do that, I think is awesome. Passing the flame off.
speaking of, what are some of the bands that you guys looked up to when you were young?
Oh, I'll say Blink,
Mm.
obviously. I mean, we're two, kids that grew up in Southern California, so it was very much like Green Day, Blink-182, NoFX, MXPX, Less Than Jake. That was like the bands that I like was listening to when I was skateboarding. Obviously, Good Charlotte, Sum 41, Simple
Right.
Plan, that whole era. And then as I got a little bit older and wanted to get quote unquote like more cool and like less popular, I would just like start digging for bands that no one had ever heard of.
Is that
Yeah,
a thing?
Yes,
Because I feel like I'll be out in events and they'll be like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" And then people will say like some obscure band just to say the band's name, just so they can seem cooler to other people.
Yeah, I don't know if I think it was always cool when you found a band that no one else had heard
knew.
of
Right,
when you were
right,
a young
right.
kid, especially in the time of the early 2000s and like late 90s. I think Travis listed off most of the bands that both he and I were growing up listening to for sure. But yeah, like the bands like Mute Math or Minus the Bear or more like experimental kind of things that I remember in kind of like early 2000s were cool. It was like I like those finding drummers of bands that you hadn't heard of, I was
Right.
obsessed with Travis Barker and Blink-182, of course, but when I found a drummer from a band like Mute Math that was so incredibly
Technical,
enriching
yeah.
and
Right.
technical behind the drum kit as a young kid, it was inspiring. Carter Buford was my guy too from Dave Matthews Band.
Mm-hmm.
I love guys like what was his name? Carlo, or what's his name? Jose from Incubus, drummer from Incubus. I was a huge Incubus fan. So I was kind of all across the map, but yeah, like the pop punk stuff was obviously huge for us. And then finding bands like that. Minus the Bear was one for you too,
Oh,
right?
100%.
I'm not
I got
just-
to see them at the Troubadour a couple years ago, which was super
Yeah.
cool.
A great venue.
Yeah, I'm
Me-
banned from there. I'm banned from playing there.
Why? What did you
The
do?
Troubadour. Are you? That's why we didn't play the
That's
Troubadour
why
on
we
this
didn't play
run.
What did you do?
And this was like 10 years ago, but I threw a water bottle. I was playing a show there for like when I had a solo project, and I threw a water bottle and it hit the sound guy there. And I got water like all over their soundboard, and they
Oh.
thought I
Oh,
did
boy.
it on purpose to like, just be mean, and that wasn't the case. And they banned me from ever playing the venue
again?
Yeah, maybe we could play it with girlfriend. I don't know, but
I was
yeah.
saying like maybe you can go in, slide in
It's been a
under
while,
girlfriends.
Hey,
Just keep the glasses
water,
on,
yeah,
dude.
water
Keep the
under the
glasses.
bridge.
Yeah, keep the glasses on. Grow the hair out a bit, maybe.
You live and you learn.
Absolutely. Grow it out a little bit. You live and you learn. But I feel like when you're on stage and you're feeling it and you're having a good time, you have a tendency to like throw something, and you're not necessarily meaning to do it to be malicious.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
No.
Travis meant it.
Yeah.
Wait, did you really? Did you really? What was happening that you had to throw the water bottle?
It just didn't sound great. No, I think I went. It was like one of those. And like one of those things you take a water bottle and try to get the whole crowd wet. And it like slips out of your hand and flies up. And looking back on it now, I can really laugh. But it felt like in the moment, I felt like I was like mad. I felt really misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they would kind of blame me for like trying to be malicious or have that kind of intent, because that's not who I am. But looking back now, it's funny. It makes a good story.
So can I ask? I was wondering why the name Girlfriends.
Honestly, it just popped into my head when I was once again iPhone notes. Like
Mhm.
I'd gotten off the phone with Nick, and we were about to like have our first kind of like band meeting before we'd even made a song. We had the band name because we went to the studio to just listen to bands that inspired us, to kind of figure out what kind of direction we wanted to, you know, make this music in. And I wrote down 5 band names. Girlfriends was the first one on the top of the note. And so we sat down. I was like, yo, do you want to hear these names? He's like, yeah. I said, Girlfriends. And he's like, that's it. And I was like, what?
I mean, I kind of go to, how could you not have a band name like Girlfriends? It's
Yeah.
the best band name in the world.
I agree.
And
I
the
think-
thought was like, you know, 2 guys on stage. What's up, Arizona? We're girlfriends. What's up, LA? We're girlfriends.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, it's so us. It's so tongue in cheek. It's weird. And it's like unforgettable. Like you tell someone what your band is called, you know, it's not like Diary of a Wet Water Bottle. It's like, there's nothing to remember. It's just girlfriend.
Diary of a Wet Water Bottle.
That was the 4th name on the list.
Yeah, that was the 4th name. It didn't make the cut. It didn't
How
make
many,
the
how
cut.
many names did you write down again?
5.
Can you remember some of the names?
You know
Diary
what?
of
So
a-
check this out. So it wasn't that, but I have the note, and we've been asked this a lot. I've never opened it again, and I don't want to. Maybe like in a like I don't know. Maybe for like our greatest hit.
It was
or
the
like
first one
something.
on the list, and I was like, say no more.
And I was like, "Do you want to
Yeah.
hear the
It
other?
has a really
do you
good
want to
ring
hear
to
the
it.
other ones?" And he's like, "No." And so I never. That was the only one I ever said.
We
so,
didn't think there was a chance that name would be available, you know, on just in general. We're like, there has to be a group named Girlfriends. Or there has to be no social media account's going to have girlfriends. And so then we just started knocking them down, and here we are.
we got it.
Yeah, we got it
Isn't
all.
that interesting? That's how
Yeah.
you know it's meant to be.
Yeah, I guess so.
How
You're right.
easy. I feel like whenever something comes really easy to you, that's how you know it's meant to be.
What I'll say this to
Yeah.
get the Instagram handle, it wasn't easy. There was a nail salon in Florida.
Report them as spam.
No, check this out.
Okay.
So the owner died.
Oh, fair
Okay,
game.
so they had the Instagram, no post since like 2013.
Didn't know the passwords.
Didn't know the So we hit them up because it was a new nail salon. So we called this place,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Hey, we're new owners. The original owner died. We don't have the login to the Instagram." So we had to work with them and contact Instagram, and they had to send a death certificate to Instagram, and then they transferred us over the username.
It was a process.
I was about to
What?
say, like, between us, don't you think that that's a little bit much to the death certificate?
It was nuts.
It
And
is a little much. Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
It
I
is.
mean, yeah, but whatever. We got it. I mean, shout out to them for being incredible, you know? And I guess it makes a good story that we're sitting here telling you on the radio right now.
I think that's so dope, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think when it all is said and done, it's just meant to be.
Yeah.
How did
I
you
hear that.
guys come together?
Man, I met Travis a couple years back, probably the first time in 2013. And then he started doing his Apple show right across the street from my studio in Hollywood at Willie M's place, and would start coming over to my studio after his shows. We kind of connected and started to become better friends because of that.
Yeah, we're just spending a lot of time
Spending
together.
more time together in front of each other. And then in 2015, Trav had a show in Orange County.
Mhm.
It was a Christmas show for some really cool event he was doing. And he was like, listen, I need a drummer for it. My drummer isn't able to do it. You want to play with me? I was like, of course, I would love to do that. I've always been a huge T-Mills fan, a huge Travis fan. And, jumped right on the show. We played a show together. It was a lot of fun in 2015 for the first time. Stayed friends for, 2-3 years after that. And Travis kind of got out of music for a little bit and started doing all of his other stuff with MTV shows and radio shows and everything that he's been doing. And hit me up in 2019 on Instagram and said, dude, I want to start like a music thing again. Would you be interested? And it's kind of right when I was coming out of a project of my own, like a month later when I would kind of like quit the thing I was doing. He hit me up and was like, I think I was playing a show with Goldfinger with my bro, John Feldman. And he was like, I would love to start a band again. What do you think? And that was kind of, we got together and listened to music, and that's when it started. It's like the first conversation was December 2019. I remember over Christmas holiday, we were kind of just talking about like what it could be. And
we're like, first
all
week of
that.
January 2020, let's go into the studio and we'll kind of sit down. And that's like when we did the band name thing. And who would have thought what kind of year 2020 would
Well,
be?
what's interesting, you talk about 2020, and I always say, man, 2020 was designed to be the best year. A Cinco de Mayo was actually on a Tuesday, Halloween. Like, all the days were like lining up to be, oh my gosh,
It was
this is going to
supposed
be,
to add up.
right, this is going to be the best year ever. And then, the universe was like, hold my drink.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be what it was. So how did that affect you guys as a band?
I mean, look, I feel very grateful, the way that everything transpired in our personal lives. Obviously, globally, it was an awful thing that happened and it changed the world as we know it. And it was a tough time for everybody. But what it did was it gave Nick and I the opportunity to really kind of, because everything else was paused. Real life was paused for a second. So it gave us the time to sit in a studio together and write these songs. And like, I just went through like an awful breakup that was like super public, and I was really depressed, and my anxiety was crazy, just like everyone else's with everything going on. And so we got to really kind of focus all of that nervous energy and that uncertainty into the music, and we got to walk away with something that we could be really proud of. So we didn't we weren't sitting in our houses like watching TV and not doing anything. We got to be productive and kind of like utilize that time and start something that we can be really proud of today.
It's kind of like the ultimate form of creation.
Right.
No distractions, going back to your ADHD stuff. There's a benefit to being able to kind of like hone in on one thing. And that's what I think COVID forced a lot of us to do, especially us in the studio. And
I was supposed to be gone for like 6 months. Like when January, after we had the meeting, I was like, all right, I flew to New York the day that they shut everything down. And I was supposed to be gone for 6 months. I told Nick, like, all right, I'll see you in June. And like, we'll like start recording in June. And then I literally flew to New York. I landed there at 7 a.m. By 9 a.m., like, because I was going to shoot this TV show. Production's like, it's canceled. We got to get you on a plane back home. They're closing everything. I flew back the same day, and I called Nick like, dude, I'm
March through June was when we made our first album. It's like our first record was made in that time of like March through July. So without that happening, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what would come out?
It's interesting because when I ask people that question, you get such a wide variety of answers. Like a lot of people, they're like, I wasn't able to be creative.
Correct. A lot of people have writer's block. It's like, yeah.
And I think it's because when a lot of people are writing, they need to be experiencing life and just experiencing things, to have something to write about. But I'm so glad to hear a story that wasn't the case with you two.
Not at all. I think like, me personally was going through so much in my personal life that it really forced me, when you don't have distractions, when you don't have outside experiences to go, like you can't kind of numb yourself with all of these other, vices. You're forced to kind of sit and look at yourself in the mirror, and there's no escape. You got to confront it like head on. And all of it for me came out in the music.
That's amazing. Tell me about High Again.
Oh, I wrote that song. I wrote the lyrics for that song the day after my birthday. So I was like, pretty much, I was sober for like a year and a half after that, pretty like completely. And my birthday, I had a little bit of fun.
Okay.
And kind of like let loose a little bit after like a year and a half. And I woke up the day after and we went to Nick's studio. And one of my favorite Panic songs is called 9 in the Afternoon. And I love the irony on that song and just kind of the juxtaposition of all the lyrics and, how they don't make sense, but for some reason the song just works. And yeah, I had that line, I got high again last night for the first time in my life, and kind of just sat there, and literally the song just kind of wrote itself. It was something super organic, and Nick and I, we kind of went in the studio and had acoustic guitars, and we were just jamming, and I mean, it came together pretty quick, I'd say.
Yeah, it was like the first acoustic song we ever really wrote as a band. The first album didn't have any of that kind of slower vibe, and we were like, we need something. And it was just outside, picked up an acoustic guitar, and then Travis is the king at putting these kind of like, what's the word, like, what's not oxymorons, just like the
I think not oxymorons.
Right?
Yeah.
Like together in lines and stuff, and just came up with that first line, and we kind of just elaborated on that. But yeah, the vibe's cool. Like we didn't know if it would be this like kind of special song that kind of poked its head out like it kind of has for this record, but it has. So, you never know.
My favorite thing is reading the YouTube comments, and there's so many of like, wait, this doesn't make sense. How can you get high again if it's your first time? It's like, hey, man, this wasn't meant for you.
Yeah. Please stop trying to
Stop
trying to decipher it. I like to go down that YouTube rabbit hole too and just read some of the comments and just have people think that they know what's going on. It's like, so we'll put this up, and then people will be like, what is he thinking? Or they'll try to like pretend or act like that they know what we're thinking, or like underlining messages in the YouTube comments, which drive me crazy.
I mean, at the same time, like, you know, the song is like a testament to, I feel like I have these kind of two voices inside of my head at all times where, like, you know, I am a really positive person, and I feel like I love life so much, but like every day I wake up, I wake up in a deficit. I wake up negative. I struggle with depression. I struggle with anxiety. And so like I have to do so much work just to get myself to zero, right? Just to like start neutral. And so I'm constantly at battle with myself. Like no matter what, I could get the best news and be in the worst mood. And it makes no sense. It's something I've dealt with my whole life. And I feel like that song is really kind of, you know, a culmination of how I process, you know, my feelings and my emotions and how I kind of cope with it all. And there is like, you know, the whole high line, you know, outside of it all, like there's so many kids that come up to us after these shows that, you know, relate to this. We had someone, you know, talk about how they're trying to pass the bar exam. He's like in school to be a lawyer. And he's like, dude, I listen to this song every single night when I study on repeat. He's like, cause I feel like I can't do it, you know, but deep down inside, like I know that I can. I've been working at this for so many years. And like, this is the song that I listen to when I'm studying to pass this exam. And like that, stories like that are so cool.
I was about to say that because it wasn't the song's intent. And it's
Right?
like how music is perceived
Yeah,
by
it's
different
true.
people, you know, to be different things. So that has to feel really good.
Yeah.
And I think
that's
everyone
awesome.
doubts themselves, right?
Mhm.
Like no matter what, like we all kind of struggle with, you know, imposter syndrome and like feeling like we're not good enough. And, you know, if you listen to the song, like that's what the entire thing is all about.
100%. I think it's a gift to be able to write a song where you can truly express who you are and put your feelings in it and make it make sense and put it out there for the world. I think it's an extreme gift that you guys have.
Thank you so much. I mean, I feel like it's something that I've always wanted to do. I feel like it wasn't something I was always good at, and you know, it definitely takes work, and you got to write bad songs too to get to the good ones.
Right.
You know, it's not like every song we write is good.
We've got a lot of those. We got a lot of bad
Really?
songs. Oh yeah, they're in the vault, stashed far away.
By two professionals, that really like I'm really like wowed by that.
Well, this last album we probably did over 50 songs, you know, and had to narrow them down to 14.
Mhm.
There's a reason for those 14, right? So the other 36
Just didn't make the cut.
didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
You know,
What else are you working on?
We're already working on more songs.
So
I don't
much
want
stuff.
to call it like another project yet, but you know, we're always kind of in the studio, and like my iPhone notes are always being, you know, utilized. And we just got done with our first kind of the West Coast run of our first headlining tour ever.
Mhm.
And it was cool because when we played Orange County, we played the same venue that Nick and I first
Yeah.
played together in 2015. And so we got to play this sold out show,
yeah,
you know, in one of our hometowns in Southern California. So like all of our family, all of our friends were there. And it was like on that stage where we first connected. And just to hear, you know, all of these people singing every single line to, you know, these two albums of songs. Because when our first album came out, we couldn't tour.
Mhm.
So this was really like our first time to really go and play, you know, both of these records. Was a really special night.
Did you
for
tell
both
that
of us.
story on stage?
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's that like we were sitting in the backstage, like looking at each other. Dude, you remember like 7 years ago we were doing this
Yeah.
exact same thing.
wild.
And it's interesting how that audience
Yeah.
like receives all of that when you tell them that story. It's almost like they're tapping into that energy that you guys have when you guys are on stage performing. If
Well, it's
that makes
great.
sense.
Some of the some of them were at the original show too,
Oh,
which is cool
Yeah.
to see these people like, you know, 7 years later that, you know, you meet and then like you see them like, you know, I've had, you know, people that I see like meet their boyfriend or girlfriend at a show,
mm-hmm.
get engaged.
Someone proposed at our LA
Someone
show.
someone proposed in the crowd at our LA show.
Do you bring them on stage when that happens?
No,
What do you
they-
guys
we
do?
didn't
It was a
know.
secret proposal.
Yeah, they told us after we did a meet and greet after, and they're like, "Yo, we're
Yeah.
engaged," and I was like, "Congrats! When did you guys get engaged?" They're like 20 minutes ago.
I feel like you guys would have did something special.
Yeah,
like you
we
guys
would've.
come on
Oh,
stage.
yeah, got a
Yeah.
heads up.
Exactly. Come
Yeah.
on stage.
We
Let's
would've.
do it right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that is this little girl. We just posted this on our TikTok, but she had 17 surgeries on her arm, and she had surgery on Tuesday and came to the show on Thursday, like with
That
her
was
dad
wild.
and her sisters and her whole family.
As
And
an artist, I would feel really good about that.
yeah, I mean, that's like
It was crazy. There was all kinds of crazy stories like that.
Mhm.
Honestly, the people I'm just like shocked every time. I'm like, how are there hundreds of people wanting to like meet us and tell their stories.
We met this girl
Really?
that beat cancer twice.
Yeah, like that was
While-
wild.
While she was through treatment, she was listening. The first time she was listening to our first album, and the second time she was listening to the second album.
Isn't that crazy?
That
has to be humbling.
It's
It's
insane
Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
to think that, like, you know, we could even have just like that impact on one person's life. And, you know, you hear artists say it all the time. If like, you know, and it sounds cliche. and
No,
corny.
it's not.
When
though.
someone comes up to you and tells you that, it does something to you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why
Yeah.
I feel like as an artist, when you unplug, you have to unplug, because as an artist, I feel like by people listening to your music, by people looking at your social media, by people coming to your shows, they are all tapping into your energy. And I know you guys may love that. You're never take it for granted, but when you need to unplug from that, you have to unplug, because you will be walking around with all of these people plugged into you.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a lot of heavy energy sometimes, you know. To,
Not
like-
bad, but
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
but,
good,
right.
good, but also like heavy. It's a lot, right? Like
Right.
there's like a lot of that.
It puts things in perspective
yeah.
too, on like how like I'm so grateful the
Mhm.
fact that like we get to go and play music and like play songs for
Right.
people that Nick and I sit in a room and we smile and laugh and joke around, and like we make these things with words and sounds and melodies, and then like people out there who are fighting, you know, demons and battles and illnesses and, you know, death and all this stuff, they listen to that to help them cope. Like, not to get too deep, but I mean that
And
is what it
Travis and I are just running around half naked in the studio when we make these
Yeah,
songs. And next
right.
thing you know, people are
People are really like just attached to it.
Yeah, I don't know how they're attached to it. We're
But
just
like our favorite bands that, you know, we started this conversation off listing, they did that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With like my first heartbreak, when I'm laying,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in bed crying, thinking that like I'll never get over this, like putting on a Blink-182 album, you know, like that, like doing all that. I mean, it's just, it's cyclical, you know. We're just doing the same thing that our favorite bands did for us.
Travis and Nick, thank you guys so much for stopping in.
Thanks
yeah,
for
it was
having us.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.